Asteroid of fear.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast. Here with another episode of the Caregiving Chronicles. We're going to recap the week, see what lessons we learned. Yeah. So it's Friday morning, TGIF. So drop at midnight on Saturday if you're up. Or you can give it a listen over Saturday brunch or Saturday gym session. Walk in the park. Get out and get some movement. Anywho, yeah, so we left off Monday. I think I did a little recap of the weekend and what I learned. So let's go ahead and talk about the week. So it's been a pretty smooth week, I guess you could say. I've had a lot of time to the days have been busy and full. My sleep is kind of messed up from time change. So there's been a lot of nights where I'm getting maybe 3 hours to 4.5 hours of sleep, which is not ideal, but I got a little bit of sleep last night. But yeah, the week has been kind of a mixture. We've had some rain here. So I was also able to get maybe 3 a.m. workouts in. So my back is doing way better, all things considered. It's not taking me 4 to 5 hours to walk out my back and so, until it feels kind of normal. And I've been taking advantage of waking up early and getting that workout in early. Because like I said, get the hardest part of your day out of the way and it kind of fortifies you, puts that shield up for you to tackle any issues the rest of the day. But yeah, in terms of everything caregiving related, it's been busy, it's been productive. PT came twice early in the week, occupational therapy on the third day, so bam, 3 days of exercise all together. Up and out of the bed, at the sink, pulling himself up to stand. So yeah, he did well in terms of that. But I got to, I think spend some time with my daughter in terms of I've been able to take her to school a couple of days, maybe this week, or pick her up. And that's kind of been nice. And then my wife hasn't been overly busy, so I've had the opportunity some mornings to go out and get some stuff done. Let's see. Outside of that, I think everything was fairly smooth. Other than now, it's getting dark early. So by the time we pick up my daughter, it's full blown darkness. 100%. And this week, with the exception of last night, we ate dinner together because Buck likes that. And that's always kind of the pressure to get home, get my daughter, get home. But some nights she stays till 6 at school. So, by the time we get home and do dinner, it's 7, I guess, which is kind of normal. Although it's 7 daylight savings, which is really like 8. So it feels kind of late. But I think, yeah, it's been so weird because the days are so long for me anyway. With the days so long, it almost feels like everything happens, but nothing happens. But yesterday, we'll run through yesterday because I think yesterday was the first day we had any real um, snafus, any situation that was frustrating. But yeah, we'll work out that day. I'll start from the morning. Yeah, I got up about 3 a.m. and because I haven't been able to sleep. Like I said, it gives me the opportunity to get stuff done. And I had a physical yesterday. Um, Lab work came back normal. That was good. Kind of that annual thing. So, I got up at 3, did my thing, checked off my tracker of all the tasks that I do, listened to some motivational stuff, have coffee, and then I got my daughter up, took her to school, dropped her off, headed over to my dad's, grabbed a vacuum cleaner that my wife was going to need later on, and then went to my physical. Physical went well. I get my physical at the same clinic I used to manage, so it's always nice to see everybody and catch up with them. And after that, I went to some old stomping grounds. I was in town where I live and went to the park. Got a walk in. That was nice. Nice round track, change of scenery. And then I hit up one of the donut shops over there because I was starving after donating blood and then walking. So I got me a Buddha and kolache, and I like them because there's 2 donut stores in this town, maybe more, but a lot of people go to the old one. This is a new one. I like to support them. And they have a maple bacon donut, but then they also had cronuts. I got one for me and my wife, which I eventually had at some point yesterday, and still only 157. Haven't really, it didn't impact my weight, I guess you could say. Um, but yeah, got that. And then I feel like I had to run some errands. Oh, I went to the chiropractor, got an adjustment, kind of down from my 2 to 3 times a week to 1 time a week. Like I said, the back's feeling better. I was able to get 3 a.m. workouts in this morning. It's just a little bit sore when I first get out of bed, but went ahead and got that adjusted and then picked up some stuff at the Target drive up for my wife. And then a prescription for myself. Um, yeah, part of the annual was making sure that all your, you know, annual prescriptions are good to go. And then after that, it was home or here. And wife kind of had to leave right away. And I spent a little bit of time doing this and that while Buck slept. And then he finally woke up and we kind of started our routine, which is like AM medicine, breakfast, next AM medicine, uh, talk, things like that. And so, yeah, all was going well. And then he's like, well, I want to get on the computer or bring my laptop. Now he has a computer, but every time you sign in, it says, kind of gives you these warnings like saying you may be a victim of counterfeiting, like somebody installed a maybe unpaid counterfeited version of Windows on his computer. And like I said, I think he got hacked because his bank account was hacked and a lot of money was taken out, which they returned. We figured out yesterday. We haven't got the letter or anything as to what they figured out about it, but they did return the money, which is good. So I bring my laptop, we do all that, we go through it, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but pretty sure I have. He donates a large amount of money to like a church group. And like I said, it's his money. He can do what he wants. My only concern is how legitimate they are. Well, he was doing one donation a month on the 5th, I guess forever. And then July 5th, or for whatever reason, holiday weekend, that donation didn't go through and they ran it again, changed the date to the 13th. Well, last month he called and he was like, I want to up my donations, one on the 5th, one on the 13th. And so yesterday being the 7th, I think we looked at it the day before as well. And I said, wait a day. Sometimes it's pending. And so when it didn't go through and it doesn't show up on scheduled transactions, which the one on the 13th never shows up on his banking under scheduled transactions, I think it's some sort of manual. Oh, and we're back again, rejecting scam phone calls. So we were just talking about scams. So where was I? Thinking, all right. So yeah, when those donations didn't go out, um, and it doesn't show up under scheduled, he gets frazzled. And then he wants to call the bank. So then he calls the bank and he misdials numbers. I can hear it on the other side. I dial it for him. Then he gets frustrated because the automatic system, and I think maybe he thinks it's real, and they just keep asking him questions. And, if anyone's dealt with this, it's like just say representative and wait until they get your representative, no matter how many questions they ask. And he kept like talking to them like they were a person, and it just kept going on and on. And finally, like gave up. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'll take care of this. And I convinced him to let me help him, sort of. And initially, I was going to call on my phone. It has speakerphone on the cell phone, and I could help him. But uh, he didn't want that. He wanted to use his phone. Then he was convinced my phone was still connected because he kept jacking he kept misdialing, and I had to show him me shutting off my phone. Yeah, it was wild, almost like a little kid. And I can hear him. He gets in touch with people and he keeps asking, I understand what he's saying, but the way he explains it to the person on the phone, the teller, customer service agent, whatever, is he keeps saying, I want to know my future commitments with this account. And they keep telling him, well, we don't know what you're going to spend, so we can't tell you what your future balance is going to look like. And what he's trying to say is, why aren't these two things that go out under scheduled transactions? But he won't let me help him. He won't let me ask them. So it was very frustrating for me because I'm here to help. I want to help. Also here to make sure you don't get taken advantage of. And then he reaches a level of frustration where he's like, I'm a 75-year member. I might just shut down my accounts, knowing that's not the thing to do. And so, yeah, it's very difficult. And, again, I want to say I've mentioned that my wife is the one who normally helps him with bills and whatnot. And so he trusts her and she does all this stuff with him and takes him to the bank. And, but unknowingly, I'm the more financially savvy, deal with this kind of stuff person in the relationship or here at the house in this situation. So, yeah, it was very frustrating. And my wife kind of came home in the middle of this. I was texting her. She was kind of on the way and was like, I'll be there. And I'm like, maybe that'll calm him down. And funny to say, she walked in and that was the end of that. And he never brought it up, never thought about it again. It was almost like an episode of sorts. I'm like sitting there going, okay, is it, you know, a non nap? Is it dementia? Is it a UTI? What is it? So then I proceeded to go and run a couple of errands before getting my daughter because, like I said, my daughter stays at school till 6. And we I'm waiting at the place and I don't see all the kids. I don't see the line of cars who are there to pick up their students. And I'll call my wife and I'm standing out in the misty rain. And she's like, well, go check where you normally pick her up, Boys and Girls Club, and drive around. And there she is. I can see her in the window and she is mad and upset. And why did we come so late? And maybe she thought we weren't coming. And I'm like, that's never going to happen. We're always going to come, but today is a normal day. We thought you were here at 6. And she's like, no, they had a veterans performance, so she didn't have to be there. And she's like, I was so bored because everybody was gone for the performance and I finished all my homework. And, so I get it. And then that fear of a child thinking maybe your parents won't come pick you up because it's the latest. Um, yeah, it was, I understood. I felt pain, bad for her. But at the same time, it was this teachable moment of, hey, if something's different, you didn't tell us. She's like, well, you could have called. Well, why are we going to call and think that anything's different unless you tell us? And so it was that moment of talking to her about having some ownership and taking responsibility. She's going to be 11 next week. That if there's something that and something is different about the day every morning, we usually ask her, what time do you want us to pick you up when we drop her off? Unless it's one of these 3 days that she has to be there till 6. And why would we have thought anything was different? So, I told her she's going to have to take responsibility as well and say, I apologize and said sorry, but, if something's different or changed, you have to let us know. It's on you too. And this is not a super serious situation. Nobody got hurt, nobody was in danger to learn this kind of lesson. We proceeded to get her some food because she's always starving by that time. She kind of calmed down, and then my wife kind of brought it up when she walked in, and I forgot to tell my wife, don't bring it up, because she had calmed down, and it kind of reignited that. And so then it was like a whole other process of, that getting it back to normal, and eventually a shower, and man, I was just exhausted by the end of the night mentally, having been up since 3, having such a great morning, and then the afternoon starting with the bank, and then the pickup fiasco just was a lot. I could feel my vibrations going low. I was like, I'm going to shower, and at some point I just laid in the bed listening to some motivational YouTube stuff while I fell asleep. But it wasn't without failure. My daughter, she has this thing about people eating and smacking, and sometimes if I have dry lips, dry mouth, I'll like that, and she hates that sound. And so she got upset one last time, and I'm like, look, I can leave the room, but you're in my room. She ended up going to her room and went to sleep because she was tired too. We were all tired. But yeah, that was upsetting too. It's like, come on, like when you feel like you can't do nothing right, even just breathing around your daughter upsets her. Because I keep telling her, it's like, you got YouTube on. Like, how do you pick that out? Why does that one thing bother you? I mean, this morning on the way out the door, she was brushing her teeth, and my wife was in the doorway, and I'm at my desk, and she's like, I can hear her tell her, like, she gets mad at my wife. She says, you're breathing too loud. It's like, come on. Yeah, when she's tired, she gets very annoyed, same way I do, but at least it was wear your pajamas to school day, so she should be happy, easygoing. It's Friday. And then my aunt picks her up tomorrow to take her shopping for her birthday, like she does every year, so that's going to be good for her. And maybe my wife and I will have some time where I can go see my dad. But, what do I learn from this? Oh yeah, there was something else this week. I remember. Um, like I always say that he's kind of different with me than he is my wife. I remember he made some sort of comment which made me think like, well, either he doesn't want me here, maybe he doesn't like me, but he needs me. I don't know. Um, and my buddy was like, look, you don't need approval or validation from anybody. You know why you did this. Just do it. You don't have any expectations. Um, yeah, I'm not looking to prove anything to anyone. I feel like I was asked by God, the universe, hey, is this something you want to do? Regardless of what it looks like, we're not gaining a lot. He's only approved for 16 hours and we're here 24/7. So while that's appealed, it's not like making a lot of money doing this. So it's definitely not for that. It was an opportunity to step up and do something that was aligned with me and what I feel like was positive. Because it disrupted everything about the podcast, the direction, all the interviews, pausing Podmatch, pausing my gym membership, 20 something days with a hurt back, every emotion I've experienced. I said yes in spite of all that, not knowing all that was to come, but knowing that this was the right thing to do, to give that opportunity for him to get better and be independent again. I've always said I can offer you my time. If I had a lot of money, I could offer money. Um, Perhaps one day. I'm sure one day. But time is our most valuable resource, and that's what I'm giving the most of. Time away from the things I love to make this happen for him, and still try to squeeze all the things I love in. But I'm giving him my time. That's my most valuable asset. And normally if somebody's energy was off, or I felt that way, or they were being negative, or hard-headed, even like with the banking thing, won't let me help you. It's like I would just walk away and say, I'm here when you need me as a resource. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You can't force it either. But you can't do that with a child, and you can't do that with an elderly person that depends on you, which sometimes reverts back to that childlike behavior mentality. So you have to be steady and suck it up, make the most out of it, find the lesson, understand that this is part of the curriculum. The same way I faced everything else, by sitting through the pain and discomfort, is the same way where I would normally, if it were just an adult my age or 10, 20 years younger, I'd just walk away and say, okay, when you want help, I'm here. But obviously, you're in a different state of mind. But I can't do that here, so I have to remain steady. Take the discomfort, sort it out, feel it, be in it, see what's to come from it, find that lesson learned, love, even when you feel slighted sometimes. That's the purpose of the journey for me, I suspect. For me to sit through all this, deal with all this, so I can then help others deal with the same. I didn't know what would come from this, but it doesn't matter. I'm sure whatever comes from it will be useful. God has a plan. And he goes back, I've seen it this week, and I think I mentioned it earlier in the week. Um, what does it say? Stick to the plan, not your emotions. Well, hopefully, today, I think it's supposed to rain a little bit, but today will be smooth. My wife's off doing her thing. She's got somebody to tend to for a little bit, and then they're going to go to the bank this afternoon. Because, like I said, he got his money back. He needs to put some more money in there, all that kind of stuff. Maybe I can take a moment to work out, do a little self love, do some of the things I need to do. Taking a lot of 3 Udemy courses in the queue right now that I'm working on. So, trying to decide what the name of an accountability coaching business is going to be. Because I do have a private accountability group on WhatsApp and Facebook. But yeah, working on that. Could change the name of the podcast, could change the direction of the podcast. Who knows? But this is episode 92, approaching that 100 mark. And while I used to feel kind of excited, now I feel like it's definitely a milestone. But, it's kind of like when you hit the 20-mile mark of a marathon, you still got some to go. And you still got to walk to the car once you cross the finish line. It's still never done. Then you got to make it in the house and shower and all that before you can relax and be comfortable. Yeah. Ugh. As is life, as is business, as is the podcast, when you're going to keep going. It never ends. And that's okay. I don't want it to. I get a little pleasure from putting my head down and just keep going. I know I can rely on me. I know I can trust me. I know I have the grit. I know I have what it takes. But yeah. Anywho, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I intend to do the same. Maybe I can spend some time with my daughter because her birthday's this week and fill my cup a little bit. Maybe get ahead on some courses. Got some reading to catch up on. Yeah. You guys do the same. Go out, fill your cup, spend your time with the ones you love. And, when you get frustrated, just sit through it. You know your intentions are pure, and whatever you're doing comes from pure intentions, pure heart, then regardless of how anybody reacts to it, just know you're doing the right thing. Keep yourself aligned. Stay out of those low vibrational states. Um, get some movement in. Talk to someone. Journal. Yeah. Hit me up. Remember, if you're interested in the private accountability groups on Facebook, WhatsApp, you do have to be vetted. You do have to want to be working on something, improvement of some sort. It's not some bullshit group you join with memes and funny sayings, although sometimes there's some funny in there. But, it's a group of people who want to get better and hold each other accountable to doing the steps daily. What's going to get you where you want to go. So if you want the things that others don't have, you got to be willing to do the things that others won't do. So, till then, go out and be the person that you want to meet.
Asteroid of fear.